Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good evening everyone. So and thank you for joining for our first podcast ever. And today we are going to talk about climate change issues. So before we starting our podcast, let us introduce ourselves so the listener know who is talking and also and who participate in this podcast. So first of all, my name is Muhammad Zikri Adib. So I'm from Kuliah of ICT in IUM. So Brother Alif, can you introduce yourself?
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Muhammad Alif Hakimi bin Hamid. I am from Kuliah Islamic Reveal Knowledge.
Okay. So next person who want to introduce himself.
Assalamualaikum.
Uh,
My name Muhammad Aiman Ammar bin Muhammad Fauzi. I am from Kuliah Islamic Review Knowledge from IUM.
thank you, Brother Iman. Brother Haris, can you introduce yourself?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Haris bin Hazazar. I am from Kuliah Islamic Civic Knowledge.
Okay. So last but not least, Brother Zamaril.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
So,
My name is Muhammad Zamar Azim Zulkifli. I am from Kuliah of Engineering IIUM.
okay. Okay, thank you all of you to introduce yourself. So today we are going to discuss about climate change issues. So climate change is a major global issue and it has impacted the whole world. So, but let's talk about climate change issues in Malaysia because we are living in Malaysia, grown up in Malaysia also, and we are Malaysians. So it is easier to see this issue because it is really near to us. But before we talk further, let's talk about the background of this topic. And for this, I will pass to Brother Alif.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. For the background of our topic today, which is the climate change in Malaysia. The climate change is the usual weather pattern over many years. The Earth's climate has been changed naturally over long period of time. But lately, the climate change has been changing faster than normal. Scientists say recent climate change is mainly caused by human activity like burning fuels like gas and coal releases greenhouse gas into the air. This gas trap heat from the sun and make the planet warmer. This is called the greenhouse effect. Humans have put a lot more greenhouse gases in the air since the industrial revolution started. Climate change can also cause feedback loops that make warming worse. Natural causes like volcanoes also affect the climate, but they don't explain the reason rapid warming. The warming matches when humans start putting more greenhouse gas in the air. In summary, human activity are the main cause of the climate change in Malaysia, happening faster than normal. This is cause effect like rising seas, extreme weather, and habitat change around the world. Understanding the human causes is the key to dealing with the climate change. I think that's all for the background of our topic today.
Okay, thank you, Brother Alif, for your great explanation. So before we talk further about this issue, let's talk about what climate change actually is. We always talk about anything that happens around us, such as bad weather or natural disaster because of climate change. But we really don't understand about it. So Brother Zamaril, can you explain to us what really climate change actually is?
Sure, Bro Zikri. So when you ask yourself what is climate change, it's all about the long-term shift in Earth weather patterns, covering changes in temperature, precipitation, and atmospheric condition over extended period. Now, here where it get interesting. Human activities, especially burning fossil fuels and deforestation, play a crucial role. This action contribute to a significant increase in greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. The consequences that are folding. Picture this, global temperature on the rise. It's not just about the numbers, it leads to the melting of ice cap, resulting in rising sea levels. And let's not forget, the stage is set for extreme weather events, from hurricanes to prolonged drought. Now zooming in on the impact, climate change isn't just a distant concern, it's a direct threat to ecosystem, biodiversity, and our very way of life. Agriculture faces disruption, water resources are strained, and public health is at risk due to changing climate and the spread of disease. As we wrap up, it's clear that understanding and addressing climate change is crucial for well-being of our planet.
Okay, so thank you, Brother Zabarul, for your explanation about what really climate change is. So now I know much deeper about climate change. So I hope that we can understand more about it. So now let's talk about the impact of climate change in Malaysia. So what does climate change do to Malaysia? And for that, I will explain about it. So there are a lot of impacts of climate change in Malaysia, but I only talk about these two only for today. So the first one is rising temperature. And Malaysia average temperature has been increasing by 0.14 to 0.25 degrees Celsius per decade since 1970. According to some study, by 2050, it is projected that Malaysia going to be hotter with a temperature rise up to 1.5 degrees Celsius. And it is worrying because it can have many consequences such as wildfire, drought, and not only can it affect our ecosystem, such as extinction of animals, but it also can place a risk to our food security because of the rising temperature. Other than that, the rising sea level is the consequences of this climate change. So due to global warming around the world, it causes glaciers from both North and South Pole to melt, and it makes sea level rise around the world, including Malaysia too. It affected people that live in low-lying coastal areas. The risk of flood to occur is much higher, and it can threaten our infrastructure and also displace community. By 2050, so according to some studies, part of Malaysia at risk of disappearing entirely before 2050 due to rising sea level. Uh, so the city or places that are being predicted under threats of submerging is Alostar, Baganato, Teluk Intan, and also some of part of Plus Highway too. So that's my point about the impact of the issue of climate change in Malaysia. So now we want to hear about the factor that leads to climate change. So Brother Aiman, care to share your opinion about this?
Okay, sure. Actually, climate change is driven by several key factors, but I will state just two major factors, which are greenhouse gas emissions and deforestation. So the first one is about greenhouse gases. It is like carbon dioxide and methane trap heat in the atmosphere, causing temperature to rise globally. So these emissions come from human activities like burning fossil fuels, industrial processes, and agriculture. As we emit more greenhouse gases, more heat get trapped, and global temperatures continue to increase. Then, about the deforestation, as we cut down forests to make room for farm and cities, we are removing trees that absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. With fewer trees, more carbon dioxide lingers in the air and lead to warming. Between 2015 and 2020 alone, the world lost over 10 million hectares of forest each year. That's all.
Okay. So thank you, Brother Aiman, about your explanation about the factor of climate change. So I wonder, so not only me, but all of us, I wonder, is there any measure taken to tackle this issue? So actually, there is the action taken by our government and also by some organization. So our government are working hard to tackle this issue. So we have our own policy for climate change, that is National Policy on Climate Change 2009. It is a framework for addressing the challenges and opportunities posed by climate change. It outlines the country's visions, goals, and strategy for achieving sustainable development in the face of changing climate, and it has become a reference for many other countries. Other than that, like I said before, there are also some organization that help to tackle this issue. One of it is TNB, Tenaga Nasional Berhad. So they promote people to use renewable energy, especially solar energy, and we can see it with their initiative uh, that is large solar scale. So it is a scheme that lets you generate your own electricity via solar PV farm, and with installed capacity ranging from 1 million watt to less than 30 million watt for distribution connected solar PV plants. So and will sell to the grid. This can promote us of renewable energy and also can save the environment too. So now that we always heard about Sustainable Development Goals from UNESCO. We call it as SDG. And we have also made some analysis that related to climate change issues and also SDG. So Brother Haris will explain about this analysis that we have done.
Yes, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Sure. For your information, climate change poses a major threat to achieving many of the UN Sustainable Development Goals or SDG. I will focus on three goals that are directly impacted by climate change, which are zero hunger, clean water and sanitation, and sustainable cities and communities. Firstly, rising global temperatures and more frequent extreme weather events put pressure on food system and can threaten agriculture productivity and food security around the world. This impact the SDG 2 on zero hunger. Heat wave, drought and flood damage crops and uh, disrupt supply chain. Climate change is expected to increase undernourishment and malnutrition globally if no action is taken. So secondly, the impact of climate change like sea level rise and saltwater extraction degrade freshwater resources. This related to SDG 6 on clean water and sanitation. Water scarcity will increase with climate change, especially in arid regions. Lack of clean and safe impact health, food production and ecosystem. Proper water resources management is crucial. And lastly, climate change greatly threaten urban areas which are home to over half the world population. Disconnect to SDG 11 on sustainable cities and communities. Heat wave, flooding, storm and sea level rise impact vulnerable urban population. Cities need climate resilient infrastructure and politics to sustainable resource use. That's all from me.
Okay, thank you, Brother Haris, for your explanation. So I also wonder too, is there any ways for students us to tackle this issue of climate change? Are we too small or are we too weak to help with these climate change issues? The answer is no. We can help to tackle these climate change issues as a student, and we will hear from Brother Zamarul on how us a student can help to tackle these climate change issues. So, Brother Zamarul, I will pass the mic for you.
Okay. Thank you for the question, Brother Zikri. Now let's dive into the question posed by Brother Zikri regarding how students can play an important role in addressing climate change. Let's explore the importance of raising awareness, promoting sustainable practice, and making eco-friendly choice in critical discussion. Let's kick things off by talking about the power of awareness. Many students are already passionate about climate change, but it's crucial to spread the awareness to a broader audience. Whether it's through social media or organizing events, the impact can be significant. One effective way to raise awareness is by using social media platforms like this. Share information about the causes and consequences of climate change, post facts, infographics, or even personal stories that highlight the urgency of the issue. Encourage your peers to share this post, creating a ripple effect of awareness. Moving on to our second point, let's actively promote sustainable practice. Conserve energy by turning off lights and electronic devices. Advocate for energy efficient solution in school and communities. Encourage waste reduction through the mantra of reduce, reuse, and recycle. And support initiatives like composting and plastic-free campaigns. Lastly, making sustainable choices is crucial. Opt for eco-friendly products and support business prioritizing environmental practice. Embrace minimalism, Avoid single-use plastic like sailor always use when selling food, and recycle responsibly. Remember, every choice you make has a lasting impact on the planet. In conclusion, as a student, you hold the power to drive change and shape a more sustainable future. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Zafadil. So we have finished our discussion about climate change issues in Malaysia and how to tackle it. And we want to hear one of us to conclude or make a conclusion that, from our podcast today. So, Brother Aiman, can you share your own conclusion about our podcast?
Okay, sure. So, firstly, I would like to thank you to our host and members for the great explanation. Because of that, I can expand my knowledge about this issue. Right now, I will share about my own conclusions. So, in conclusions, climate change is one of the most pressing issues facing humanity today. In our discussion, we have explored the background and causes of climate change, including greenhouses, gas emissions, and deforestation. We have also looked at how climate change is impacting Malaysia and actions being taken to address it through national policies and meeting SDG goals. While climate change is a complex problem, we all have a role to play in driving solutions, whether through our individual choices or by supporting broader changes. By working together and making this a priority issue, we can curb emissions, protect forests, and also create climate resilience. In fact, that our generation will inherit the effect of climate change. We must do something by taking informed action now. We can still we can still shape a sustainable future for Malaysia and also for our planet.
Okay. Thank you, Brother Aiman, for your conclusion. And sadly, we have reached to the end of our podcast. So we are going to end our discussion here. And I hope that our listener and us also can learn many things about this issue, that is climate change issue. So thank you for listening to our podcast and see you next time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, everyone, and goodbye.